I'm not the first person you've seen talk about this, and it won't be the last person you've seen talk about this. Yes, I also made the switch back to physical media after years worth of streaming. Home media has taken many forms over the years. Of course, back in the day, they had things like VHS, Betamax, all that. I'll fast forward to DVDs and Blu-rays, which is kind of stuff that we as Gen Zers grew up with. I kind of grew up with VHS as well, only because my parents are poor. And now in 2025, we find ourselves swamped in between so many different companies trying to try out their own streaming service. But I say no. No more companies. None of that. I'm gonna own everything again. That's why I decided to buy movies. There's so many movies and shows out there that aren't even on streaming anymore. Like, how else am I supposed to watch the Legend of Zelda cartoon from the 80s?
Why?
You're supposed to be guarding the Triforce.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Peak television right here.
It's not on streaming anywhere. Or maybe it is, I don't actually know. Over 3 hours of action. That's what she said. As I mentioned before, streaming services are notoriously pretty terrible for not keeping things on their services at all. I mean, if you look at HBO Max, they're constantly taking down different cartoons and shows throughout the years. Warner Brothers in general has kind of just been really anti everything that we like when it comes to this sort of thing. And not to mention, there's so many different services out there that if you're paying for every single one of them, you're paying like $500 a year just for that. I personally find the whole streaming service thing really annoying. Kind of the problem with media is now that we have access to everything that we want all at once, we're kind of spoiled for choice, and we kind of, it's not as special as it used to be, man. With that being said, if you do have a physical movie collection like I do, it does look pretty damn good on a shelf. Here's what mine looks like. I'll go into a little bit more later. I'll show you guys the more in-depth part of my collection. It looks cool on a shelf. You bring people over, they see your movie collection, it's like, wow, man, you're so cool and awesome, and not a loser that uploads only once a year, right? Haha. Yeah, streaming services suck. We all know this. I mean, how many times has Netflix raised their price in the past couple years? What, they're like $25 a month now for 4K? That's insane. That's literally the price of a single 4K DVD. Blu-ray, excuse me. I feel like there is this kind of false sense of convenience with things like streaming services because you have everything that's on there, sure, but it's like, are you really gonna consume all of that content in the span of a month or a few months or even a year? Definitely not. I know I don't watch any more than like, what, maybe 4 or 5 shows any given year? I don't even have time for that these days. I'm always working on not YouTube videos. Yeah, but even if you subscribe to like Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, you're looking at like, what, $50 just for those 3? Not to mention if you want Paramount, Peacock, there's so many. And there's so many people that are like, oh yeah, I have all of them. Like, great, you're like wasting money. Or how many of those do you realistically use? Like, come on, be honest with me. I love how Netflix, of course, has to throw their hat in the ring by being like, oh yeah, if you have a 4K TV, no, you gotta pay more for that extra 4K business. You know what I mean? It's worth a lot to keep those things on those servers. You know, let's take down one of your favorite movies and shows and you never get to see it again. $24, please. So with that aside, are there any like physical, visual, or audio benefits to having a physical disc over things like over the convenience of streaming? I'm glad you asked, because you totally did. So if you're a YouTuber or streamer, you probably know what I'm about to get into. So there is something that exists in audio and video called bitrate. So what bitrate is essentially the amount of information being transferred per second. A Twitch stream, for example, would be around 6,000 kilobits a second, because that's just what Twitch allows. YouTube, I think, can go up to 1,200. I'm not actually sure about that, don't quote me. So you're probably wondering, what exactly does bitrate mean for movies? It's actually really important, you see, because on streaming, they really have to gut that bitrate down to get it at a streamable pace for both audio and video. So what you're going to see, and I'll show some side-by-side comparisons, is you're losing a lot of information from a stream to a disc, because the disc has everything all on the disc. It doesn't need to take anything from the cloud. It just reads everything off of that disc, and it doesn't have a problem with it. Streaming, it needs to compress it. It needs to cut that bitrate down so it can be streamed without lagging or without giving you any buffering or any issues of that nature. Audio is 50% of the experience. If you don't have good audio, you're not gonna have good video. That's kind of like a mental rule I've always taken whenever I go out and shoot stuff like this. Like this video here. Audio is, of course, another thing that does get shafted when it comes to bitrate. So again, to get things at a reasonable pace for streaming, so you're able to stream it, it has to cut down that bitrate on the audio. Now that we're in 2025, things are a little bit more optimized for it. But when you compare that to a physical disc, oh my god, it blows it out of the water, man. Have you ever wondered why nowadays everyone needs subtitles to watch things. It is because of this bitrate problem, because the audio is so compressed, because it's mixed in such a way, it's harder to understand things, it's harder to hear things, specifically because the audio is of a worse quality than it would be on a disc. So I'll take a quick second to talk about other forms of media. Like, of course we have TV shows, of course we have music. A lot of people are going back to vinyl nowadays. I also really enjoy vinyl. I don't have a vinyl player of my own yet, but you know, hopefully soon. But of course, on the other side, we do see services like Apple Music offering things like lossless quality if you have wired earbuds or headphones or whatever, and it is great. Streaming music is still really convenient. And I stream music every day. I have Apple Music. I have Sony headphones. I listen to that shit lossless. It's great. Of course, it doesn't beat having that physical collection, spinning that record, putting that disc in the tape deck, whatever. I don't remember what things are called. You've seen the comeback of vinyl the past few years, and I feel like it has something to do with wanting to own things again, because ownership is a great feeling. Let me tell you, I own all the Star Wars, all the Back to the Futures, which is my favorite movies of all time, all the Indiana Jones, and being able to have that and not have some company rip it from you, that's a great feeling. Back to the Future especially, I feel like it's passed around between streaming services every 5 freaking minutes. I can't ever keep up where it is. Mini tangent, I apologize. So I have seen people also collecting CDs. I think CDs is probably the best form of physical music right now, just because it's better quality. If you have a good audio setup, it sounds great. Vinyl is incredible no matter what. I think anything analog is going to sound better than digital, just like as a general rule of thumb. But of course, your mileage and preferences will vary on that regard. But what about the older forms of physical media? I'm talking things like DVD, VHS. Of course, this is going to depend on the person. I see people do collect VHS tapes now. I myself collect a lot of VHS tapes. I love VHS, honestly. I think it's a great platform. But the problem with that is that a lot of people are trying to play those VHS tapes on a modern screen, like a big 4K screen or like one of the monitors behind me. It's like, yeah, you're complaining it looks like shit. You're playing an analog thing on a modern digital device. Like, of course it's gonna look bad. That's not how that works. Now me, I'm a dorky motherfucker. I have a retro setup in the other side of my room here. I'll show you guys on screen right here. And I've got a VCR that plays VHS tapes. If you don't know what that of a VCR is, which is probably most of you, let's be real. And let me tell you, VHS tapes look damn good on this thing. An old CRT, an old VCR. Let me tell you, VHS tapes look like a goddamn dream when they're on an old piece of shit like this. And the same thing goes for DVDs. Like, I know a lot of back in the day, a lot of DVDs were made in what they call full screen format. So they're not wide like a movie would be. They're not like letterboxed. Well, they are if you play the widescreen version. Anyway, they are full screen. They have that 4:3 aspect ratio, because that's the screen that they were formatted for. And the DVDs were printed for those kinds of old CRT screens. You kind of get to the situations where a lot of movies were actually shot in 4:3 to compensate for this. I know the first 2 Spider-Man movies were shot in what they call open matte, a 4:3 aspect ratio, specifically for that DVD release. It's actually really cool. I'd honestly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. On my CRT, those movies look incredible. They look incredible on any screen, really. They're just, I like the original Spider-Man trilogy. Am I the only one? No. But yeah, man, if you're gonna collect anything, VHS is awesome. I'd recommend getting a CRT TV and a VCR. That is the absolute best way to watch them. It's what they were made for. It's the kind of screen that they were made for. I feel like even DVDs are still solid on modern screens, especially if you have a PS5 or like any kind of 4K Blu-ray player that does DVD upscaling. I think they still look pretty good. All the original Star Wars DVDs from like 2006, I think, whenever they came out, the PS5 upscales them really well, and they don't look terrible. The bitrate on those, even though it's an upscaled 480p image, the bitrate looks better, and the sound sounds better than it would be on a stream. Bro, I can't believe we're in an era where something that was popular 20 years ago is of a better quality than something now. I do also play a lot of video games, and gaming is definitely not what it was back then, but I digress. Which brings me to my next point of video games. Well, let's address the elephant in the room, Xbox Game Pass. Let me get one thing out of the way. I don't hate Xbox Game Pass. I think Xbox Game Pass is actually a really solid deal for a lot of people, especially if you have an Xbox Series S, you just for like a Game Pass machine. It's not a bad deal at all. Let's make myself perfectly clear. The problem I have with Game Pass, it just makes it seem like games are kind of made for Game Pass instead of alongside it. If that makes any sense at all, probably doesn't. Now, I'm filming this literally like the couple days after the Oblivion remake came out, which is kind of awesome, and it dropped day and day with Game Pass. And I think that's kind of awesome. I think $50 for a ground-up remake is more than fair if you're on another platform, of course. But like the fact that it came on Game Pass as well, that's crazy. I feel like games and movies are a little bit different in this regard. The only thing is I feel like game preservation is such an issue that the more we shift towards this idea of a Netflix-style gaming thing, the worse off we're going to be in the long run. Now, that's probably just me being a boomer, me being an old man. Oh, you damn kids in your Game Pass. But like, no, I feel like it does kind of set a weird precedent going forward. Like, oh yeah, this is something we can do. We can make a lot of money doing it. Yeah, Xbox is probably gonna go a third party. The Series X might be the last console. I hope I'm wrong, but we will see. I know Nintendo is doing kind of the same thing with their old games. Again, I like that it's there. Don't get me wrong. I like that it comes with your online subscription instead of being a separate thing like Game Pass is. I don't know, man. I think I'd rather just own them outright. Don't tell Nintendo, but I have like every single ROM of their games from the first like 30 years of their existence. Portable games are a little bit different though, because I feel like if you have like a Switch or like a Steam Deck or something, those things are massively bulky to begin with, so it's like, what are you gaining from having a ton of physical games? I mean, I feel like those things are kind of made to be digital solely because I don't know anyone that wants to lug around a ton of games with them wherever they go, especially if taking on the go. I can't even fit the Switch in your pocket, much less carry games with you too, unless you have a big case, and even then, it's even more annoying to carry around. I'll be real. I hate carrying the Switch everywhere. I also would hate carrying the Steam Deck everywhere. There's a solution to my on-the-go gaming needs. Get yourselves one of these things, a Nintendo 3DS. I do have a physical collection of 3DS games, but like, everything I play on this thing is digital. Because I don't want to have to put this thing in the case. You don't need to. It's sturdy enough. I don't want to have to carry physical games around. Everything on here is digital. That's all I really need. So I feel like with games, things are a little bit different. And I'm also seeing that frickin' Nintendo, of course, what they're doing is they're charging more for physical games now than they would for digital.
Hey, post-production Aaron here. I just want to let you guys know that they actually did roll this back. So games, physical and digital, are going to be consistently priced. I'm looking on the official Nintendo website now. It certainly was the case a few days ago, but now, since I've been editing this, they have changed it back. So, or maybe it was fake news the entire time, I have no idea, but yeah, there you go.
Shout out to the year 2008, begging my mom for a Nintendo DS in the middle of a recession. Oh my god, we're so back, man. Games are going to be fire, though, let me tell you. Those Donkey Kong, that looks great. Listen, I don't like $80 Mario Kart, but looks kind of good. I don't know. I spent the last 20 minutes rambling to you about physical media. I just want to give you guys one quick thing. Make your own choices, of course, of this sort of thing. Media preservation, of course, is a very serious issue, especially when we're going towards streaming and how often they remove and put things on different platforms and how you're jumping everywhere. I think owning your own physical collection is going to be important for the media that you like. Physical media, just as a concept, might not be an option, because everything is going towards streaming and subscriptions and all that. They make more money from it. And if I can be serious for a moment, I do find that really sad. Now, there are some companies that are committed to physical media. I can see later down the line, companies starting to drop physical versions of their content altogether. And I find that really sad. And for my next point, where the hell do you find this stuff? Of course, for games, it's easier to find. You can just go on like eBay or Amazon or whatever. They have physical copies all over. They're expensive, but you know, it'll be a physical copy. But of course, you know, emulation is, no one will fault you for doing emulation. It just kind of, it's a fact of life, is what it is, whatever. For movies, there's a lot of sites. I know some people don't like to use Amazon nowadays for understandable reasons, but Amazon does have their 3 for $33 movie thing going on. They do it quite often, at least like once or twice a month. There's a website called Grov.com, which does a lot of neat movie deals. I've used them quite often. I'll leave links to everything in the description as well. And there's some other sites that I know of that I can't remember off the top of my head because I'm an idiot. As you know, probably the best way is to go to a local video store or a retro store or whatever. My favorite place on earth is my local retro store. We've got things like old games, movies, comics, music, a bunch of stuff, and they're really popular. They've been in business for a long time. I'm not going to say the name of them because I don't want to dox myself. For those of you that are local, you know exactly the place I'm talking about. God, it's so great. Sometimes I'll just go there just to chat with the people that work there, because everyone's super cool. Anyway, I kind of ran out of things. I've kind of just been rambling at this point, so I'm just gonna gush. I'm just gonna show you guys a quick clip of my collection, and you guys can come to your own conclusions there. Play that clip.
Okay, just a little bit about my collection here. A lot of this is just stuff from when I was a kid that I just kind of transferred over to today. So, of course, we got James Cameron's Avatar. That's a requirement. We got Baby Driver. All three Back to the Futures on 4K. Bugs Life. Deadpool. Also on 4K. I have so many classics. I got The Dunes. I got The Fabelmans. It's a great movie. Godzilla. I got Goodfellas. Classic. The Goonies. Classic. Halo Legends. Classic. Incredibles 2. It's alright. I got The Matrix. Classic. Lego Movie. Classic. Lego Batman Movie. Classic. I have all of Red vs. Blue, literally every single Red vs. Blue thing ever, or season, excuse me. This has all 10 seasons in HD, and then I have the Chorus Trilogy. I have these totally not bootlegged versions of season 14 and 15, because they're not like $1,000 on eBay. Spider-Man, Classic, Suicide Squad, Classic, Unforgiven, Classic, haven't seen it yet. So the cool thing about this is this actually rotates. So if we move this over here, here's all my VHS tapes. I got all the Indiana Jones. I'm on a quest to collect every version of The Last Crusade ever. I got Citizen Kane up here. That's a classic if you've ever been to film school. Beavis and Butthead. What are you talking about, man? I got all the classics. This one is actually, is it this one? No, I think it's this one. So when I was a kid, see, this is the VHS tape with the episode where Ash leaves Pikachu behind, and it's paused at the exact moment where I started crying because the episode was too sad. This was like 2004 or whatever the fuck, and I was too young. So I started crying, and my mom had to pause it, and it's still paused at that very moment to this day. Oh my god. Really shitty condition of a pre-special edition Return of the Jedi. But, you know, fucking classic. Top Gun, classic. War Games is a really good game. This is a really good movie. I almost said game, what the fuck. This is a great movie if you haven't seen it yet. The Mask, Christmas staple right here. National Lampoon, of course. I got this really cool Star Wars trilogy box set, which is awesome. I just picked up E.T. a little bit ago. Down here, I've got a Switch Pro controller, I guess, and I've got these Metallica live things. These actually belong to my mom, but I'm in the process of digitizing them. And we got Monsters Inc. down there, fucking classic. I love that movie. And then over here we got all of my DVDs, just basic DVDs. I've got fucking all of Avatar, classic. This is the way it was meant to be seen. Got Charlie Brown. I got Cars. I got Evan Almighty. I think I have Bruce somewhere, but I don't know where that went. I got the first 3 seasons of House. This one is a sealed copy of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade on DVD. Never been opened. I bought this for $3 and it's in great condition. Another one to add to my because this is my favorite movie of all time. So it's nice to add this to the collection. Legend of Zelda, of course. Ninjago. If you guys don't know what Ninjago is, it's about Lego ninjas. Basically, it's a commercial, but they made it good. And this is probably one of the more interesting ones. Not this one. This one. If you guys are Red vs. Blue fans like me, this was like a little award show special that they did. I don't really see this talked about anywhere, but I have a DVD copy, and it's cool. I'm not really sure how popular this is, but hey, it's something. And I got High School Musical 2. That's a classic. You gotta have that. And I got Spaceballs. This one's actually interesting because this one is both full and widescreen, which is cool. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the video, the Spider-Man trilogy. These are the full screen versions, so they are that open matte 4:3 ratio. Except Spider-Man 3, that's the widescreen one. And I have, in this one, this is the one of the limited editions of Star Wars. This one actually comes with the theatrical version of the original Star Wars movie, which is super cool. I love that. It doesn't look great, because it's ripped from the Laserdisc, but hey, it's still nice to have at least some kind of copy of it. It looks good on a CRT anyway. I have Fred the Movie for some reason. Maybe I'll do a review on that, and I probably shouldn't show that, but that's a South Park. I don't know why I have that. I just kind of found that in my closet one day. And these are my games. I grew up an Xbox kid, so here's the remnants of my Xbox collection. Halo 2 is my favorite game of all time. Halo 3. Morrowind, KOTOR, what the fuck y'all talking about, man? And these are the copies I accidentally stole from Hollywood Video, because when we got my Xbox, like a week after we got it is when Hollywood Video went out of business. So we never ended up returning these. So we just kept them. All my 3DS games,
My fucking GameStop copy of Pokemon Diamond. Kid Icarus, classic. Ocarina, classic. Link Between Worlds, classic. Some DS games down here. These things are worth like a fucking fortune now. Switch stuff, Genesis, all of my PS5 games. I don't have a lot of PS5 games, but we'll see. God, I have fucking NES games. I got PlayStation. There's my Switch box down there. Japanese exclusive blue Nintendo DSi, or DS, excuse me. Classic. Yeah, it's basically my collection. Like, subscribe, all that nonsense. Blah, blah, blah. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for videoing my watch. If you enjoyed what you saw, there's a button for that. It says subscribe. If you want to see more videos, click the playlist on screen for a 4-season series I created with my friends. Sick, nasty stuff. You can also follow me on social media and join my Discord server to interact with the community. All of that will be in the description. See you next video.
I feel so bad for, like, the kid that, like, saw this at, like, Best Buy or something, and they're like, Mom, it's Zelda, like, the game! And he bought it and watched it, it was like, what the fuck? It's me, I was that kid.